Hello, everyone. This is Team 2, myself, Adam Sutton, Thomas Sparks, Ken Solis, and Tony Shuck. Our application is Route 200. We created a full stack travel companion and trip planner built to help users discover, plan, and organize trips with real time data from multiple external APIs. My piece of it was to build the backend API integration layer for all four APIs and to bring all the search results into one result. I'm going to hand it off to Ken Solis. He's going to go over a little bit about his piece.
Hey, this is Kent. So I work primarily on most of the back end as well as the database part. I will pass this off on to Tony.
Hey everybody. So I was responsible for the trip and expense logic, the data structure for the back end on those, and then the reactive components. So that budget progress bar is reactive to each user's input. And I'll pass it off to Thomas.
This is Thomas. I worked on the UI architecture, React front end, CSS styling, and optimization. Next, we're going to go over the technologies used in our Dockerized web app. Our web app used Docker and Docker Compose to containerize the whole system. The backend used Django and Postgres SQL. The front end used React, Framer Motion, and Lucid React. The APIs that were used are Yelp, Aviation Stack, Open Weather, and Ticketmaster. We're going to pass it off to Tony next.
Thanks, Thomas. So here we have basically the login page for the application, minimal styling with the logo that we've all established and created for our application. Minimal styling on this page to really maximize once a user is inside of the application. So I'm just going to show you here to create an account. You go here, it'll bring you up to the username. You type it in with a passcode. Now that sign up bar has turned to login, and then you can just log in using this. And I'll pass it off to Kent.
Great. So this is Kent. Basically, what's happening on the Docker side of things is that Django, the back end, is running on port 8000. The React front end will be running on port 5173. And then the Postgres SQL is run off of port 5432 once everything starts running. And kind of a request flow through the system, how it works is basically when a user searches for like a flight, for example, on the front end, React is going to send that GET request. Django is going to receive the request and validate the JWT token. Views.py file is going to call that services.get flights, and then services.py file is going to make the request to the flights API. That API is going to return the flight data. Django is then going to send the data back to React as a JSON, and at which point React will display the result to the user. And it's important to note that the CRUD being handled here, we are covering the create using the post method on the trips endpoint when a user saves a new trip. The read all or read one is being handled by the HTTP get method on the endpoint of the trips. When the user basically returns all trips for the logged user or return one specific trip, right? And then the operation update is being handled by the put method, right, on the endpoint when you edit the trip details like the budget or dates and do that. And then finally, we covered the final CRUD aspect when we are able to delete using the HTTP method delete when you remove a saved trip. And I will pass it off on to you guys.
Okay, so here's our basic landing page. This is your dashboard. The flow would be the user comes in, they're just looking for ideas for a trip. So we have the create new trip. We have my trips at the bottom. That'll populate once they save anything. So we'll go up to search. We'll search. Let's just say Chicago, and then the next page will be all the API calls. At the very top, you have flying from. It's pretty standard. You select your airport. Gives you a snapshot of what the weather is currently. Below that, we have the restaurants. This is going to be the restaurants in the area, their ratings, prices, and that good stuff. Scrolling down a little bit, we're going to see the events. This is our Ticketmaster. It's going to give you an idea of what's going on in Chicago and when, so they can kind of go through and plan their trip. And then at the very bottom, gives you an idea of what airlines are flying in there and kind of a snapshot of how often. I'm going to hand it off to Tony. He's going to go over the budget piece.
Appreciate you, Adam. So, while the heavy lifting for all of the information for each city has been done, we still have yet to create the trip and then add the expense piece. So we just searched for Chicago. We're going to create a trip for Chicago. We're going to create it with our input dates here. Obviously select whatever dates you would be going and set a budget. We'll say $1,500. Then you save the trip. Now what populates from under my trips, what Adam was speaking about before, is your destination and then your available budget remaining. So you can edit the budget from here, but what is another key factor is when you go back into search here, so say you wanted to check out The Girl and the Goat, you bookmark it, and you wanted to catch the Cubs versus the Yankees at Wrigley Field. Okay, then when you come into save, you can go and just bookmark and save a bunch of things, and then the user can come back there and check them out and get some more information on them. Or now, when they're here for the expense page, they can say Cubs game, and they can say $200. Then food, $150. Now going back home, you're seeing this in real time as the user inputs their expenses. And then they're also able to edit it from here, changing the total budget. So while they can't modify the expenses from out here, this is just to edit the budget. And so in closing, our goal for this project was to take the complexity out of travel planning. By integrating real-time flight and weather data with a reactive expense engine and a seamless UI, we've moved beyond a simple search tool to create a comprehensive travel companion. We believe this application demonstrates how thoughtful logic and intentional design can turn a blank screen into a meaningful user journey. Thank you for your time, and we're now happy to open the floor for any questions.